All right, guys. Soccer Dad Pod. We're back. New episode. And I'm flying slightly solo today. Not in the sense that I don't have anybody here to talk to, because I got plenty of guys to talk to today. But my usual co-pilots are doing Saturday night things. I don't know. Jared sent a picture of a plate of fillets. Zach said he had honeydews, which means he's in the basement, probably drinking weed water. And I'm down here at my favorite place in the world, Amsterdam Tavern. Saturday night, though. It is a little weird on a Saturday night at Amsterdam, though, if you've never been, because not a lot of soccer on Saturday nights. Across the televisions, you get a lot of college football this time of year, which is fine. Whatever. It's still the vibe. Joining me today for our roll-in, our intro, St. Louis alum, and actually he's now a two-banger. Second time on the show, Mr. Joe Ahearn. How's it going, Joe?
Great. Not a St. Louis alum, though.
No. I mean, you're from St. Louis.
Okay. All right.
I'm not going to go low right out of the gate, dude. I know you wore different colors. But you do know that at the time of this recording, what's going on in St. Louis this weekend?
In St. Louis?
Yeah.
Or in Bloomington?
No, at Soccer Park.
High school state finals?
It is the finals. You know who's in the final, don't you? Class 4?
Rockhurst, SLU High.
SLU High, Junior Bills, baby. And if they lose that game, I will never hear the end of it on socials. Because I kind of pointed out to the Rockhurst loyalists that when you don't have a lot of other teams to play against, it's a pretty easy path. And that didn't go over so well on Twitter.
I imagine.
Making friends over here in the Lou.
Soccer Park?
Yeah, it's out Soccer Park, 7 o'clock. So as of right now, they are 10 minutes in at the time of our recording. Did you, your years? You got one, didn't you?
Yes. My 96.
Okay.
Finals, SLU High, at the soccer park.
Nice. That was Taylor, wasn't it?
Taylor, he missed.
You rub it in? You want to
missed
text
the pen.
Oh, that's right.
Pen. Adam Shea made the save.
Yeah, but who remembers that, right?
No one. I did.
Just a few tens of thousands to Smet fans. A lot of things going on in the world of soccer. And I'm glad you're here because I wanted to start off with a little bit of that, a little high school, a little local. We'll get into what you guys are in town for here in a little bit, but I was out there last night for the semis, and Field 2 and Field 1 were both live. They were kind of bouncing the Class 1, 1 and 3, and then 2 and 4. And is there a better place to watch games like that than Soccer Park on a misty November cool evening?
No, I haven't seen it. Yeah.
And you've been to a lot of places.
Yeah, I haven't seen. I mean, we were talking about it today, actually, just how that facility is. It's got to be one of the top 5 facilities in the country in terms of hosting events like that, and just visitors like us when we come into town. The resources and the atmosphere. It's just really cool, not only for the players, but the parents, the fans, the coaches.
Yeah.
It's a great setting.
Yeah, I mean, the fields are beautiful. You have parking.
Yeah.
You have locker rooms. You have indoor plumbing, which a lot of facilities, as you well know,
This is true. Yeah.
don't. And I think the only one that really beats it, because my favorite is you've got the grill, you got beer, you got pretzels. I'll tip my hat to Bavaria, though.
They do a good job. You're right.
I mean, that facility is it's checking boxes.
It does. It does. The park has multiple fields that can accommodate a number of teams. That's where they get the edge over.
Well, I think
Bavarian.
it's also one of those things that because I noticed one of the Kansas City teams. I don't remember which one it was. It was a lower class. I didn't recognize the name. Long story short, but I noticed the staff kind of walking out. They were in the main building, walking through the hallway, right? And they were coming out to the patio.
Yeah.
And I could see they were just kind of chattering about it. And I kind of like interrupt. I'm like, hey, so what'd you think of all those jerseys? And they're like, that's not real. Because as you well know, it goes, you walk in, there's Brad Davis, there's Pat Noonan, there's Steve Petcher, there's Steve Tritchew, and Josh Sargent, and Tim Ream, and boom, 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 and on, all the way down the hallway. And it is one of those things that's really kind of unique. At a level
history.
It's not normal.
No. And you don't see that at Bavarians either.
No.
I mean, it's a cool setup, but the history and the players that have come out of that place is second to none. It's awesome.
Do you get a little tingle when you come back?
Yeah.
You see the arch, you kind of like flying in, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. It's still home.
I mean, you've been gone a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. I left when I was 18. We were talking about it earlier. And, obviously I come back to visit family or whatnot, but it's still home.
Yeah.
So many awesome memories. And I was down watching my nephew play down at the Alum complex earlier this morning, and it's crazy the amount of facilities down there, between Sportport
and we need more.
Creve Coeur. I mean,
that's the crazy
bonkers.
Thing.
Yeah,
you need more. I mean, you have Fenton, you have Creve Coeur, the park, which is Gallagher primarily rents that all out. Then you have Lou Fuse, and then across the road you have Sportport with STLDA, Donegan, and those guys. That they have that facility. You have Slice way up north. You've got Rush out west. You have Rush on the east side. I mean, we could still support probably 3 more.
That's crazy.
It's awesome.
It is awesome. It is. It's the culture. It's embedded in. It's the thing to do here when you're growing up is playing,
So the other night, obviously you've dipped your toe in the college game for a number of years as well. I'm assuming you're watching a lot of these games that are on.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you catch SLU Kentucky?
I did. Yeah.
What did you think of the game? Just kind of watching the game.
I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. It seemed like there was a good crowd.
Yeah.
The spirit in the game was awesome. There was a little bit of drama, so for a fan. And again, I'm watching on TV. I wasn't there in person, but I didn't want to step away from the TV because I was enjoying it. It was an entertaining game.
It was one of those nights where, because I was there, little man, him and his team, the 2013 Heartland, Gallagher, whatever, they all went out there and we watched. And I've seen probably 5 games this year, SLU. You had a mist. It was a little chilly. No wind, right? It was a really rare night. Like, the field was perfect.
Yeah.
And Kentucky was massive. I was walking around the north side, and they were warming up early, and I'm walking past, and I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, this is like the Philadelphia Flyers of '96. Like, where's Lindros? Like, these dudes are going to kill,
So you don't get that from the tube,
I know, and that's why I'm bringing it up to you, because you'll understand this. Like, it's one thing to watch and you see, 6'2", center back, whatever, and then you look at the kid and you're like, that kid's not 6'2", or maybe they are. They're just, that's still a kid.
Yeah.
I was walking past the field. And I'm like, this is like, these are all linebackers just going to the NFL draft right now. And the game started. And SLU's team they have some size, but let's not kid ourselves. It's a smaller team. The wingbacks are smaller. Obviously, Di Maria and Schramm and all these guys that are locals. They're good. They're good sized kids, but they are not 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", 190 to 210.
Yeah.
And the game started, and me and Bertrand, we were talking, and we both called it for Kentucky out of the gate. Like, I just don't see this, because SLU had a hard time scoring all year. And then it was one of those nights. It felt like a special night.
It was cool.
Because the name that kept on popping up was
Demo.
Di Maria.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that was cool.
And that was one of those things where, everybody here knows, obviously Dad.
Yeah.
And Sarah, right? She had a great career herself.
Yeah.
So Mom and Dad are aces.
Right.
Here's Jack out there as a true freshman. Started most of the season.
Okay.
Only had 1 point all year long. That was crazy to me.
I had no idea.
I know, just 1. And obviously, there's an older sister that plays at Mizzou that was really good. Maddie is probably the number 1 ranked female player in the country. right? And then the youngest brother is playing 2 years up over at City. And for a night like that, for the name to be called for the 2 goals to push him through, Demo, it was surreal.
Yeah, that brought back a lot. I mean, just hearing his name.
Yeah.
Because Demo was a year older than me when we were going through the Gallagher system, so we trained a lot together. But I think you brought up a great point earlier, and that's something we talk about even with our own club. Being able to see games live in college, particularly for those players that want to play at the next level.
Yeah.
It's so important to go watch games live and be there in person for all the reasons that you said. To see the speed of the game, like you're not getting that from the tube.
Well, I'm going to tell you a true story, and I'm not going to name names. They probably will know who they are, but there was a group of dads that were there, kind of watching it, and have repeatedly talked about their kids' pathway, and that they're expecting this kind of D1 look or this D1, where they're going to land. A blue blood, ACC or Big Ten or a SLU would be great, and their kids are good kids, good players, and they want to play across, in particular, the back line. And I'm like, guys, just look at these bodies, right? And the dads are sub 5'10", and I'm like, I'm pretty sure their wives are not that tall, and it's like, this is why you need to come. And it's not because you want to bust balloons, but you really need to understand that if you do want to go and do this, or your kid does, is what we're really talking about.
Right.
Do your homework.
Right.
Because it's a different game.
And you could even say that for the kids that are playing in college that want to go on and play the next level. Going to watch a pro game live looks and feels a lot different than when you're watching on TV.
It was a special night. If you're listening and you're wondering, go. There's all kind of clips. The pictures were amazing. The video was amazing. It was one of those nights that St. Louis soccer will remember for a long time. It's a first-round game. Look, if whatever happens tomorrow in Bloomington, again at the time of this recording, that's the other funny thing about it, right? When you start to connect the dots.
Oh.
You beat a very good Kentucky team, and what do you get? You get to hit the road and go to Bloomington to play, St. Louis East.
Yeah. Exactly.
And they're pretty good too.
Real good. Yeah, they're good.
So
it'll be a fun game. I'll tune in for that one for sure.
You missed the college game?
Yeah, for sure. There's, I miss probably the most is the locker room, the guys.
Yeah.
I really enjoy what we're doing right now. The player development piece has been awesome. But for sure, there's certain parts of the college game, and like I said, the interaction with the guys, the locker room, that stuff is the culture piece.
Yeah. That is the fun part, isn't it?
Yeah.
Game is the game is the game. Everybody plays that.
Yeah.
But it's your boys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to bring on the rest of the Jags that you brought with you. And by the way, did you like the music I picked? This little rock and roll. I'm playing this in honor of your whole club and your locals here.
Okay.
Did you know that Iggy Pop and the Stooges were from Detroit?
I didn't.
The rest of them are shaking their head. They're like, yeah.
You got to bring them into the mix.
There you go, man. Playing a little. And I strategically picked a song called No Fun, just to be kind of like the opposite of. We're at Amsterdam. All you can do is have fun, right?
Yeah, let's roll.
All right, Joe, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, all things Jags and more down here at Amsterdam Tavern. Make sure you pop by, watch your EPL games on the weekend mornings. Nothing tastes better before 9 a.m. than a pint of Guinness and Chelsea on the screen. So check them out. Soccer Dad Pod, we'll be right back. See ya. Today's college soccer programs receive hundreds of emails a day from players wanting one of very few spots on their roster. Jared, Zach, and I, we all use Choose It Right for our son's communication process. The platform creates a simple resume format that includes academics, club and coach info, links for pics and highlight videos, and more importantly, the platform has a database of colleges, their sizes, locations, conferences, majors, and costs to help narrow down the search. Check out the Choose It Right link in the show notes and take advantage of the SDP discount on your purchase. Back to the show. All right, we're back. Coming in with some more Stooges. This is actually one of my favorite. I noticed whenever I brought it up, I'm gonna name drop you now. Pronounce your last name.
Pososki?
Pososki, thank you. You immediately were shaking your head. You're like, yep, Stooges.
Oh, absolutely. There's music out of Detroit and unbelievable.
What's your favorite Detroit musician? All time. Because you got a few to choose from.
Oh, man.
Eminem.
Put them on.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely say it. That's
Eminem.
the easy
Cinderella
one.
Man.
Yeah, yeah, that is.
Leave it to the goalie to say Eminem.
Yeah.
Bob Seger?
Yeah, you can definitely do Seeger. 100%.
Kiss?
But, yeah.
How about anything Motown?
Well, that's what I was going to go to.
I like Motown a lot. I grew up, my mom was a cosmetologist, so in our house, record player was on. She was that generation. That's all we heard all day long.
I mean, it changed music. Now, a lot of the other people did too, but Motown was...
Yeah, and that Eminem guy, he was pretty good too.
Yeah, he's okay.
I heard he made a little bit of money.
Cinderella Man.
Right?
One of my favorite songs of all time.
And he got to make out with, what was her name in the movie?
Brittany.
Murphy.
Yeah.
Brittany Murphy.
Yeah, that's a big score too. He probably takes the gold records over that though.
R.I.P., by the way, Brittany Murphy.
Yeah. Well, we weren't going to go there. Why'd you have to bring us down, man?
The goalie.
It's always the goalie. Hey, we're back. Soccer Dad Pod. I have got with me the Michigan Jags crew. As you well know from our first parts. Second time through. DeSmet. What year did you graduate, by the way?
96.
96. Class of 96. DeSmet. Spartan. Mr. Joey Ahearn. And then joining him with us, we've got two gentlemen from the club. Pete Pososki. What is the technical title? Because you guys, like, the titles rotate a little bit every now and then. What's your current title with the Jags?
So I'm the technical director for the club.
Okay.
And then MLS Next director.
Got it. That's a lot of titles. Do you have a big business card?
I do not. I have no business cards.
And then the bubble buster down there talking about all the dead people and the Eminem fan, Mr. Steve Clark, goalie extraordinaire. And we all know goalies are a little off from the get go, because otherwise that's why I play the position.
Yeah, I'm like, I feel like when I retired last year, I'm pretty normal now.
Do you tell yourself that? Do you stand in front of the mirror? Is it kind of like a Hurt Locker moment where you look in the mirror and you're like, you're normal.
I'm normal.
You are
I'm
normal.
Just repeat it. Look into my eyes.
I love it. Well, hey, thanks, guys. Thanks for coming in here. First question, let's ask the important stuff first. I'm assuming it's your first time to Amsterdam Tavern?
That's right.
Absolutely.
What'd you think? Coming in, popping in, you're like, where are you taking us, Joe? And then you walked in. Was it like, oh.
Didn't want to leave.
Yeah, great vibe. And then you took us down towards a basement, which is even better.
It's cold.
Yep, I'm waiting for the answers to determine if we open the door again. But Amsterdam is one of those places that when you walk in, you see the scarves, you see the jerseys. Probably some people that you played with, yeah?
Probably, yeah, for sure. I was trying to get the bartender to recognize me, but he didn't. I said, "It's a soccer bar, huh?" He was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Cool. Okay, I'll take a Pilsner."
He's like, "Yep, been there, done that, seen."
You're old news, dude. Get out of here. Get to the podcast.
So you guys are in town. You got back to back, 2 clubs, 2 days. What age groups did you bring down this weekend?
We brought everyone. U14, so the 2012s played St. Louis City today, and we all play Scott Gallagher tomorrow.
Oh, so only the 2012s played today?
Correct.
Did the other? Okay, so everybody else is just tomorrow against Gallagher.
Correct.
So, Pete, talk a little bit about. Was it first time at City with the club?
No, we've been down. This was, our 3rd or 4th year.
Okay. Oh, that's right. You've been with the club for a while.
Yeah.
Steve, you just joined the club recently, correct?
That's right.
All right. So let me ask you, Steve, because you've been all over the country at MLS facilities firsthand. St. Louis City, what do you think of the facility? What do you think of the location, the vibe?
Yeah, I was telling them when we came in, the first time we played here was their opening year in the summer, and it was amazing. Then we played in the CONCACAF Champions League the year after. Still February, great crowd. So, and then the facilities, it's top class for sure. But I will say, I'm looking at your St. Louis Scott Gallagher and your Bush shirt. I mean, the history.
I brought out all the stuff.
I mean, look,
for you guys, man.
Detroit is. We were talking about today. Detroit's a soccer hotbed, but you guys have a lot of tradition here. You know what I mean? So it's a cool soccer town for sure.
So you guys came down. You had the 12s played today. Tomorrow you've got a full roster against Gallagher. Playing it down at City at the academy, it's a little unique because obviously there's the fence and the parents on the outside. But tomorrow is going to be actually at Lou Fuse Fields because of everything going on at the soccer park.
Yeah.
When you come down, because I know how it goes with clubs in general. You look at your schedule, and for a lot of St. Louis teams, they look at the schedule. It's like, oh, Chicago Fire is circle the weekend, right? When you come home, Joe, maybe the question to you, and you see Gallagher, right? Because you're from here, is there a little bit of extra juice and
sure.
a little extra sugar in the coffee?
For sure.
How do you approach these weekends, man?
For sure. I mean, it's any other weekend as it is for the boys. I may or may not have told them this week, like, hey, this is where I grew up. This is my childhood.
You're like, don't
club. They're like, do you know the other coach? Yeah, I know the other coach. All right, coach, you want to beat him? Yeah, of course. Let's go. So, yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
Let's get into a little bit of maybe some roles within the club, because I want to kind of piece together a little bit of what each of you do today for the Jags, and then we'll kind of zoom out and talk a little bit about the league pathway. Some of the stuff we were talking about off mic. Just kind of the lay of the land. Pete, technical director, MLS Academy. You've got a pretty extensive resume. The one thing that jumped out to me was your role at, Philly Union,
Sure.
Talent ID.
Yeah.
Explain what that is. What is Talent ID in today's MLS Next world, and what you were doing at Philly, and kind of how that transferred over to what you're doing with the Jags?
Yeah, so I joined the Philadelphia Union as the director of talent identification. Now that has significantly changed even since the time I've left, which has been about 6 years or so. I was a director of one, and now there's full staff.
Yeah.
Right, multiple scouts. So as a director of talent identification, you're overseeing the scouts. You're making sure you're hitting open markets, making sure you have a really good eye on your local talent, because that's generally going to be the lifeblood.
Let me interrupt you. I'm gonna walk through this Q&A here.
Sure.
When you say open markets, I'm assuming what you mean is like regions maybe in, say, Oklahoma that does not have an MLS affiliate.
So each MLS first team has a protected market.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean those players can't necessarily go someplace else, but there's a process to make that happen. Michigan, the entire state of Michigan, for example, is an open market. So any MLS club can come in at any point and take the kids, and there's no real rules behind it.
Well, okay, so this is one of the things that gets me in trouble with Kansas City in particular whenever I throw shade their way. I knew that about Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
As a club director, does that fact make it hard? Because there's a lot of poachers. Michigan is a hotbed.
Sure.
Right?
We've got kids at Kansas City.
You have a few. We know, because there's not many from Kansas City. They're on the Kansas City roster. How do you balance that whenever you are open game? Or is that a selling point for the families and for the people within the region to come and work with you guys?
I think it depends on your philosophy. If we were just trying to win every game and try and bring home some hardware, which would be very difficult anyway, then yeah, it makes it incredibly hard. We are player development driven, so I think in many, many ways the MLS clubs provide things that we cannot. So it's a natural progression for players. Now, I'm not talking about coaches, because I would put our coaching staff up against a lot, if not all, the MLS clubs, and feel really comfortable. But the environment, the day-to-day, the pictures on the wall when the kids walk in, we're not going to have that. Right? Some of the cultural things we can do, but the environment piece, we're hamstrung in a lot of ways. So now, where it does get difficult even for us is we want to win every game we play.
Yeah.
But we also view that as a part of our player development philosophy. Like, there are certain things that we will not bend or break just to get a win.
So I think there's a lot of different directions we can go here, as far as, like, I don't think there's a through line on this conversation. What I mean by that is, like, a lot of people are going to be listening to hear a little bit about the club, but they're going to want to know about kind of pathway, kind of what do you do from a scouting, recruiting, development standpoint. And maybe this is a good point to toss it over to you, Steve, because you're fresh out of MLS. You've been at the highest level for a long time. You're now back at Jags. Well, you didn't. You grew up in Michigan, but you weren't. What was your youth club?
Vardar, but I joined late. I was like U17. I joined Vardar. So
okay. So let me ask you this, because one thing that Pete was talking about is this. One of the behind the eight ball arguments that non-MLS clubs throw out there is like this kind of development environment. But there's a significant argument that's going around MLS Next, in particular, Homegrown, and even into ECNL a little bit, in that at what point is there too much development and not enough competition? Because as an elite academy like Jags, like Scott Gallagher, like Strikers, like Delco, that are not directly affiliated with MLS clubs, winning trophies is significantly important, and at some MLS academies, that's not top of list.
So
do you see that?
Yeah. So I was just speaking with a friend who I played with, who's now on an MLS Next Pro staff, and he was talking. All he's talking about is competing, And I think there is something to be said on both sides. So you have, okay, what an MLS club, they're offering, all these kids are doing homeschooling, and they're at the facility all day, and they're doing video sessions and all that. But, a club like the Jags, what we're really talking about every day is competing. And, it's an important conversation to have. And I don't have a complete answer, but we're all here in our staff here because we're competitors at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We lose matches. It's a tough car ride home, and we're laughing like, I retired from playing for all those years, but I lose a match. My wife's like, dude, what's wrong? I'm like, it's just who we are. We're competitors. So there's something said. So
Joe, to you then, kind of, I want to keep this going a little bit. Because I referenced the fact that, your background, you were in college for a long time. And part of the expectation, part of the process of families, kids that enter into these programs or clubs like a Jags, like a Gallagher, et cetera, is it's pathway, right? And the most obvious pathway, now all the kids dream, they all want to be pro. And all the kids in St. Louis City, they all want to be pro. And everybody at Chicago Fire want to be pro. But the reality is, you're talking about maybe 1, 2 a year at those clubs, and the rest of them are all kind of hoping to keep play and go through the college path. For you...
To jump in there real quick,
yeah,
I don't believe that's actually true. I think every kid at those MLS academies will say they want to be a pro, but I don't think that's actually the case. Or at least they don't necessarily understand. And what I mean by that is, like, they don't live the lifestyle that they would need to do.
No, well, yeah.
They're using it to get to college.
I 100% agree with you. Yeah. Their verbalized goal, they all want to play pro. But we all have seen the kids that do and are pros. They're different. You can move them out of the pile, right? So my question to you is, how do you view balancing as a club director player development versus competing, because the needs at the college level are way more in line with short season, we need to win games. right? The kind of you expect the development to be there. You're looking for kids that know how to win, right? How do you view that? How do you approach that from a philosophy or a strategic standpoint with the club?
What we talk about a lot is, and it's on the field and off the field, they work together, is we spend a lot of time coaching the boys off the ball. How can you help your team when the ball's not at your feet? Mm-hmm. And whether that's you on the bench, because at the end, most of these kids, if they make a transition to college, they're not playing their first year. And if you do, awesome. But are you going to hang in there? Are you still going to find ways to help your team win with the manner in which you approach training? Can you make that starting 11 better by the way you approach training? There are many times we have kids in our group that maybe start 3 or 4 games in a row, and then we don't start them the 5th game, and they're mopey and they're down. And of course, we don't expect them to be celebrating, but it's a teachable moment. And say, look, how can you be a good teammate in this moment? You're making it about yourself. So when college coaches come and look at our players, they got to know, okay, can this kid contribute in ways other than just when the ball's at his feet? And that's the character piece. And we spend a lot of time with these kids on the character, and a lot of that has the resiliency and how you can just deal with the ups and downs of not only a college season, but the pathway.
Well, I mean, witnessing it firsthand with my son, and Jared and Zach's boys at the same time, they were the first 15s at City, and, they're coming off Timmy Leonard's team where, I think they only lost 1 game or 2 games in, I don't know, a long time, right? And they all played all the minutes and everything was normal, and that's what you did, right?
Right.
That's how you win, or how they won, or how they were used to winning. In their first year there, immediately it's the rotation.
Yeah.
It's the 50%. It's and what happened was this hyper focus amongst all of them to start to shift away from winning a particular game. You have 5 days to win a start, your position, right? So that shift was obvious. And I see you guys kind of shaking your heads. Pete, maybe to you, how do you talk to a group of 14, 15, 16-year-olds whenever you do have an environment in which you're playing at a very high level, and sometimes rotation is necessary, maybe not because of the way somebody is playing, but maybe there's a minute fatigue, maybe there's, maybe it's a strategic decision. How do you talk to a kid to understand why that's valuable?
That's a really difficult question. Because I think the answer's potentially different for every player. And so that's kind of the art of coaching, right? Where, how do I get through to this boy what is important? Now, Joe hit on it. We have certain pillars and standards, and if they then fail to live up to those because they're disappointed, that's the reason you do it is to stress those moments. And you were talking about college earlier. How are you going to react if you don't make a travel squad, much less don't come off the bench, or don't start? So we kind of try and lay the long term out for them, in hopes that they grasp the moment.
Steve, coming in fresh, because obviously your whole career is you're either the man or you're not the man. Sure. At that point, because you're kind of past the whole development stage. Sure. Once you're a pro, then it's compete. Mm-hmm. Right? As kind of the new guy on the staff going in, what do you view your role from maybe a communicator, a sounding board, or how do you talk to these kids being fresh off the field to explain to them exactly what we've been talking about, like this pathway, this process is not just a really good U13 team that you guys get to go play 4 tournaments a year, get your medals, and good luck. What's your approach?
Well, I think first of all, I think you hit on a really good point. You're talking about the MLS academies and non, and so you're talking about what I'm hearing from, again, a lot of friends in the industry in this is that, like, I think there's going to be a retraction where people are prioritizing technical ability and all this stuff, and there's going to be some type of retraction where everyone's talking about competing again. So I think I'm really glad you brought that up. I think that's a good point, and I think that you're going to see a lot of that because that's what I'm hearing in the back channel. The other, just from when you say in the pros, like what I pride myself on, even when I was 39 years old, was still developing. So for me, it's day one. It's something where you're saying, hey, we need to get better at every aspect. And so you're asking me my role in this staff. It's a lot of times I'm listening. I'm giving my advice to the coaches, but I'm taking in what they're giving me. And then I have a natural bravado that I'm just giving out to my players. And sometimes it means talking some trash here and there. But, I want to embody that competition. I want to embody that. That's just who I am. That's the reason I made it. That's the only reason I made it. I was undersized and all that. That's the only thing that brought me to the pros.
So were you excited whenever the opportunity presented itself for you to go back home and connect to take on this kind of next step?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Connected with Pete. And now I would say, 5 months into my coaching career here with the Jags, our staff we have a lot of fun together. But I think to start at a grassroots level, like the Jags, for me as a coach, is super fun. Like it's challenging. There's a lot of challenges we deal with that other clubs don't. But at the end of the day, like, again, I'm really glad we're having this conversation because you just hit on something. Like, you need to win your header. We can talk tactics all day. I love tactics. These guys will tell you. I'm on my board. I'm watching film. I'm like a tactics junkie.
Yeah.
But in the last 4 months, it's been a dialing back tactics and saying, hey, this is a 1v1 duel. Like,
So let me throw this at you guys, and I brought this up on the show previously in different conversations. So I want to get your guys' take, because last year after it was during the Gold Cup, it was the infamous where Berhalter put 2 minutes left, right, and we just need 2 minutes. The next thing you know, we lose, right, and it was this huge red flag for U.S. soccer. Everything's like going sideways. We don't know how to win. And the argument that came out of that was, how is this happening? Because on paper, and everybody talks about, this is the golden generation. We have the best players we've ever had. Look at the teams that they're playing on. Look at where they start. Look at the leagues that they're in. We've never had more EPL players. We've never had more top in, Germany, Italy, etc. across the world. On paper, the roster was the best, American soccer players have ever had, right? But we weren't winning. Brad Davis walked in for an emergency episode, and he pulled out of his pocket, I think it was a 2014 team. He goes, here's the difference. This team that we were on, and I think it was, I forgot what tournament it was, he goes, of the 24-man roster, 16 or 18 of us were captains or the leaders of our teams, which included a large percentage of MLS players, and wherever they were, but the majority of them were not in the EPL. They were not elsewhere, but they were winners. They were the leaders of their team. Do you kind of see that in what we're talking about now, what's going on when you go to these events and you see, quote, the best kids? You talked about it, technical, tactical, everything else. These kids are all technical. Do you see leaders? Or are we seeing fewer leaders than we would like? And is that a target of what you guys as a club are going to work on? That's a big one.
That's a tough one. I think it kind of depends on how you define leadership in some ways, right? You can have guys that make the players around them better, but may not be the most technical. They're just willing to do work for others. You can have, that's a leadership type. You can have guys that are like dribbling breaks down all tactics. So if I get you on the ball and you can break people down, that's a leadership type of role in a team.
Sure.
You can have organizers verbally, right? That's a leadership type of role. So I think it's a really difficult question because it's about balancing all those things.
I tell you what. In listening to the question in my own head, I realized that's a dumb question I'm going to go to a very simple one, and it's probably my favorite question. I'm going to start with you, Steve, down at the end. The it factor. You go, you see a U14, U15, I don't care what the age group is. You're only there to A, coach and or just watch. Game starts, and all of a sudden a kid does A, B, C, whatever it is, and you're like, that kid. What is that? What does that look like for you?
Oh, man, that's a great question. I mean, I think that's a great, really, really good question. Do you guys want to jump in on that? Because they have more experience than me. But
He can.
Yeah, I'll jump in on it. And this is
jump in,
something
yeah.
we used to use when I was at the Union, right? Is what's their weapon? They have to have a weapon. Now, that again, it can be anything, right? But because you have to put a team together, so you can't have the same type of player and everything. And it can change overnight depending on the way you want to play the game. So, but that weapon could be athleticism. It could be pace. It could be technical ability with both feet to spray the ball. And again, it depends how you want to play, but there has to be a weapon. And that weapon is something they do better than everybody else out there on the field.
Joe, what about you off the ball? What's one of those it things off the ball? Because I'm a nerd about this.
Yeah.
I've asked this question probably 200 times,
Yeah.
and I catch myself trying to apply it to the thousands of games I watch.
Yeah.
I mean,
look
it's a
for
great
this-
question. It's a great
Well,
question.
the front half of the group for me is that unselfish running. Are you willing to make a run in behind the
That-
opponent's back line? You might not get the ball,
Yeah.
but that action is going to open up something for another teammate because you're asking questions of that back line. So for me, that's the off the ball in the front half of the field. And then the back half, the back line, like. When the ball's on the opposite side of the field, what's your positioning? Are you thinking about how can I help the team in this moment? And circle back to one of your comments earlier. We spend so much time. Like at the end of the day, I'm not going to be their coach for the rest of their life. So we spend so much time as a staff working on their behaviors that we hope will transfer to wherever they go, whether that's an MLS academy, whether that's college,
Yeah.
wherever it is, there's certain behaviors that translate to every level. So if we can continue to encourage that in our training environment, we hope that they can take that to wherever they end up, to wherever they go.
So they bought you about 3 minutes time to think about your answer.
Yeah, I'm still. You know what? I mean, gosh, there's so many things I want to say. And
Steve, let me ask you, how about a goalkeeper?
Well, how about this? Let me frame it. Let me frame it through your own lived experience, because you've been on the field with some of the world's best.
Sure. So, okay, there's so many. We have all these conversations. I want to address them because I think they're important and I think they're good conversations. So I'll just. Okay. So for me, the most important part, you have to coach age groups differently, right? So just to say, I'm the coach of the 15s and the 19s. So the 19s, my message is very clear. You're up to the senior age. Match day is the most important. If you don't want to give me something on a Thursday, no problem, but match day is the most important, okay? So when you're asking me about what a pro is on match day, they have the it factor because when it's difficult, they're ready to play. And there's a lot of guys who train well, and it's a difficult moment, like, for example, away at St. Louis City when the crowd's there, under Bradley Cornell, they're pressing you, and I'm looking at my center backs and say, hey, are we going to build out right now? Are you there? And if that kid's there, he has it. If he's shying away from getting the ball from me, he doesn't have it. So I think the answer changes depending on the age. The other thing that I think is interesting, just regarding the national team, what you were talking about before, I played for Greg for 3 years in Columbus. There's not a guy who pushes his players harder. There was times where Greg was pushing me so hard, I look back, and if I was a senior player, I'd be like, hey, Greg, enough. But I was 25 and 26, and so I just took it. So I think when we're looking at the national team as a whole, it's very easy to be like, okay, we don't have leaders, or we don't have technical ability, or we're not. And what was it 10 years ago? We're not producing a 10. That's what I think the narrative was. So there's all these, underlying themes surrounding the national team, but it may be that national team just didn't click yet. When you talk about the progression of a team, sometimes they just don't click.
Yeah.
And I don't know those guys. I'm not involved in what they're doing. I've never trained with them. I've never seen what they do. Now, under Pochettino, you can see the last few games, those kids, like you said, it does look like there's leaders on the field. There could be a lot of evidence why that is.
Who's the leader right now? Who do you like? See that you're.
So
that's exactly the problem I have with the men's national team right now.
But I'll
because
say
it
this.
should be
So,
that guy.
Okay, but this is what I have to tell you about the national team. I think there's guys who are unheralded that are pulling a lot of weight. We call them piano carriers and piano players, right? And I think one is Christian Roldan, and he's an MLS guy, and he's getting all this thing. I think if you put Christian Roldan on that team, they're a better team. So when you say, what's the it factor? Put a kid in the lineup in a drill, and is he making his team better? And so what I would say for me, I'm not saying Christian Roldan is the it guy for the U.S. national team, but I'm saying he's a piano carrier, and we need piano carriers.
So you should have just told Greg when he was busting your balls, like, dude, I'm from 9 Mile.
Well, I grew up in a small town in Michigan, but I mean,
it's also 8 Mile.
Dude,
No, you're
he's still keeping
suburban. I'm not going to give him credit for that.
8 miles really long.
No, I knew. Look. So I have family at Kego Harbor, and we would always joke like you're all from 9 Mile because you're too white.
I like it actually. I do like that now.
You can steal that.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Hey man, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna get some refills down here at Amsterdam and rolling out with a little M&M in honor of my Michigan peeps here. When we come back, we're gonna talk more soccer. That's what we do. I don't know. We'll throw something else in. I'll think about it on the break. We'll be right back. Like, review, follow, share, all that stuff. It's free. Low self-esteem. Appreciate it. See you in a second.
The term staycation was really invented by soccer moms. Located 1 hour and 7 minutes from the Arch, the Music Box Chalet at Innsbruck is a hidden gem. Buried in 3 acres of private woods, the Music Box has a master suite for just you, a loft and second bath for them, and a vinyl collection to meet your every mood. The full-size kitchen will easily accommodate 3 to 12 bottles of rosé, while the huge fire pit seating area will keep the big kids busy. Golf, fishing, kayaking, pickleball, or simply reading a book with Mother Nature, all at your fingertips. Visit either VRBO or Airbnb to find the Music Box Chalet. And now, back to those guys.
All right, we're back. A little more Great White North rockers coming your way. While I do respect the M&M vote, I gotta go with Seeger. If I'm
You can't get it wrong.
right, a little rambling, gambling. Steve, you're a little bit younger though. It's probably your mom and dad dug this shit a lot more.
I can get down with Bob Seger.
Can or do? There's a big difference.
Can.
Yeah.
Christ, I was talking about Motown.
right. I'm like, oh my God, he's my guy. Gentlemen, we are back. Soccer Dad Pod. We're going to do a little short second half here before we roll out on a Saturday because you guys got games today or tomorrow. You got a full stack. We've been bouncing around, staying up in the stratosphere with some of these theoretical questions, etc. I want to get in a little bit of the leading more into kind of the recruiting side of things, and Pete, starting with you, your resume, it's out there. You were a talent scout for both U.S. Soccer and Celtic. Break that down. Number one, how does that happen? And number two, what did you do?
What do you mean? How does it happen? Like, how do you get the job?
Yeah, a guy from Michigan bouncing around doing some college coaching and.
Yeah, I think.
Because you strike me as more German, not as much Celtic-esque.
With the Pososki last name, I strike you as German.
Polish.
Okay.
Yeah. Central. You're central. You're definitely not on the island.
No. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so a couple of different ways. You get lucky. You get to meet some great people who help you along the way. And then when I first moved back, a lot of the guys were like, man, that's cool that you work for Celtic. Like, how do I get that? How do I get to something like that? And my answer was pretty simple. Like, you've got a couple of kids and a wife, right? And like, yeah. Do you enjoy spending time with them? And I'm like, yeah. So, well, we don't have anything else to talk about.
Yeah, don't do it.
Yeah, because you just never say no.
Yeah.
That's a big key, is you never say no. Can you do this? Yeah. Can you go here? Yes. Can you go and see this? Yep.
So were you IDing or scouting American players for Celtic, or were you?
Yeah, I had North America.
Okay. So what does that look like when they say, hey, go do your job?
Sure.
What exactly was the job, and where were you going?
So it would depend on where we were in the process. So every week I would get a list of a handful of guys to watch, give an individual report on, and then the rest of the week I would spend my time, it was pretty much all over the computer, spend my time watching MLS games and Liga MX and a little bit of Canada, but not really. And so
you would now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But that was pretty much the weekly thing. And then at the end of the week, you'd turn in your reports, and you would flag guys in certain criteria or certain categories of where they might fall. And then depending on the feedback I would get from the home base, I would then go watch them in person. And we would do that multiple times. So that's when you're getting in the car or getting on the plane or whatever it is and just going up to the stadium. And then I would do all the major events. So like I did the Liga MX kind of whatever cup it was final in Las Vegas in UNLV Stadium.
So primarily pro to pro. You're scouting pro.
It was just first team scouting.
Okay. So you were not. This wasn't like a Pipeline Academy looking for the kid or.
Don't get me wrong. We identified 17-year-olds. I would go to, the U.S. national team U17 stuff, the friendlies they would have, the competitions they would have. Not much academy, mostly just national team, but youth national team. And we would identify some younger players that we would look to sign in their first contract, which almost happened on a couple of occasions, but that was pretty much the story of everything.
Yeah. So, Steve, I want to ask you kind of how you view this or how you feel about it, because now that you're kind of at the club level, and it's kind of piggybacking off of what Pete just referenced, and actually it stems all the way back to fellow DeSmet grad, your boy there in Cincinnati now, Mr. Noonan. Way back in the day, he had a comment. And we were asking a question about when you do look at young talent, and there's Footy Access and Top Drawer and all these platforms that are like, here's the can't miss U15 kid, here's, blah, blah, blah. And Pat had a comment, his reply was, well, I could show you a team of the next best Freddie Adus, and they're nowhere to be found. And I'm listening to you talk about when you identify talent. Now that you're kind of in the club world, Steve, how important is it to kind of temper or manage, when you do look at the really young kids? Because all of these kids are so close to the MLS Academy, to a MLS club, and the delusions of grandeur accelerates really quickly. How do you, as a coach and as a player that has seen these next best things that never became anything, how do you view that? How do you manage that moving forward?
Well, so when I talk to my kids, I just say, look, like, you may not go, the ideal, the things that we're talking about as a Jag staff, whether it's, off the ball movement or how to be a good teammate, all the pillars of our program, these things are going to translate to what majority, if not all, our kids are going to end up in business, as a teacher, as a firefighter. So, there's some pretty talented kids on Joe's team, but every kid that we have, there's no one who's, if they think they're a top dog or like that have an ego, they're either going to move on from us, or we're going to, not chop them down, but we're going to really have some conversations saying, hey, look, like, you're not the biggest guy, and I have no problem saying very directly, and these guys sometimes laugh at me, but I'm like, look, you think you're the guy, but you're not. But we have a lot of like blue collar, tough kids. So I'm not dealing with kids who are, hey, you're the next great thing. However, I think it's a fair question. There's a lot of that I think going on, like I said, that I know from my friends in the MLS Next Pro and that type of thing. They're dealing with a lot of that.
I'll jump in real quick if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
One of the reasons we wanted Steve to join us is because Steve's story is not that story. And I think that really resonates with our kids.
Well, I think you pointed out that you didn't jump into the club of the world till 17. Is that right? I'm assuming multi-sport athlete.
So I was just talking to my neighbor, dude. I wasn't even a good athlete to be a multi-sport. I'm a good athlete, don't get me wrong. But I joined Vardar at 17. I walked on to Oakland University, and I backpacked through England and Norway cold calling teams after the one and only Jay DeMerit, who's the true one. But I took his vision, and I did it. I did that. I actually did that. So, when I'm talking to my players, and like to be honest, took a shell shocking from the soccers with my 15s, and I just spoke to them. Look, like this isn't going to define you. Like I was not even at an academy at your age, or a homegrown team, as we're calling it, right? We're calling it homegrown. But so I mean,
stick with academy.
Yeah,
I hate the name change personally. I'm done.
I mean, how many name changes can we have?
Yeah, so dumb.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that it's these conversations about development. Like I've lived it in a we're talking about, oh, do you go to this club or that club, or how do you develop? I lived it because I was just basically nothing but grit, and that's probably what you want out of any club you're at is grit. We're talking about grit, and we're primarily at any level, anytime.
So Joe, to you, because again, with Michigan being a free for all. Yep. For all the other clubs to come and scout all the time, when you do have the kids that are, or a kid, right, on a particular team that is clearly percolating, how do you personally manage as a club director the next step for a kid like that? Are you everybody wants to keep the best players, but sometimes, and we talked about it, Steve, off mic, where you're talking about kids like, well, what's best for the kid, right? Mm-hmm. How do you, at the Jags, kind of manage the relationship between the free range that is your backyard and all the eyeballs that are always coming that way, that are from other areas that might not have a lot of talent, like Kansas City? How do you do that? How do you balance between the two?
There's certainly a ceiling, as Pete mentioned earlier in this conversation, where we get to a point where it's time. It's time for you to go. But when they're under our watch, we try to maximize all the resources we have possible within our group. And one of the things that I love about our staff is we're all in this together. So they're hearing a different voice, whether it's Pete or Steve or Ryan, myself. Like, just because you coach a team, you're getting feedback from another coach. That's one. Two, we, particularly at the younger ages, we ask kids to play out of position, okay? Yeah. Because that in itself, well, hey, I'm a 9. Well, today you're not. So we need to figure it out, so they can see the game through a different lens.
You know what's funny, man? Back in the day, he started doing that thing. Well, I'm a 4. Yeah. I'm an LCB. I'm like, no. When somebody asks you, you're a soccer player.
Right.
Just say you're a soccer player. That's all you say.
That's it. So again, given the resources we have available, they're getting feedback from one of us 4. We'll play them out of position so they can continue to grow as a player and a person. And then, if it makes sense, if they're the best in their training environment every day, do we give them a look with the age group up?
Yeah.
Once a week?
Yeah.
So there's different ways you can filter in, but we have a responsibility also to protect these. If you put too much adversity on their plate too early, then it could go south.
Shoot, I'm drawing a blank, but somebody recently was talking to me. They're like, look, if a kid is constantly playing at the ceiling and they're not moving up to be on the floor, then they're really not growing, right? Whenever they don't move up an age group, go get beat up, learn to lose, right? Isn't that the saying?
Struggle, yeah.
Let me throw this out to all three of you, because the other part of the equation, probably the bigger part of the equation, is the parent management, kind of being self-aware as far as like what's going on, what level is the kid, because every club handles it differently. MLS Academies, it's really simple. The rule is you don't talk to us. And then there's elite academies in which, parents are a little bit more engaged, and they feel the need to engage and, feedback. How important? What are some tips and tricks, Pete? I see you tilting your head.
Well, I think that Pete does I'm really glad that you get to talk about this, Pete, because Pete, I think, is a master. Master of it.
So how do you approach it? Yeah, you have said team coming in. You've got a handful of parents that the kids are, varying levels. Because if it's a roster of 18, there's front third, middle third, back third, right? And parents come at it from a totally a multitude of angles. What's your go-to? How do you manage that conversation?
Thanks for setting me up, Steve. That was pretty cool.
No, it's true. It's true.
I think first off, we're proactive, right? We're proactive, and we explain who we are. And that entails a few things like we've talked about earlier with, we want to win every game. But we have certain things that we are not going to sacrifice in order to achieve that. So from there, I think we go into when people want to join us, we are very honest and almost try and talk them out of it, regardless of how good of a player they are. Because the last thing we need is to set an expectation that we won't be able to achieve. And what I mean by that is we rotate players. Joe just touched on it. We rotate starts, because it helps you with the struggle. And just being able and upfront and honest and being able to explain why we do those things, I think helps. Mm-hmm. We don't bat 1,000, right? We don't bat 1,000. One of the questions you get is well, how come he gets what happens if so-and-so leaves our team for that opportunity, whether it be an MLS club or whatever? And the answer is pretty simple. If it were your son, what would you want me to do? We've come to an agreement that's what's best for that player, so that's what we're going to do. How come Jimmy gets to play up for, every once in a while, and my son doesn't? Mm-hmm. That's just kind of how we view it right now. And again, if it were I don't know that there's a correct answer other than being upfront about who you are and making it difficult, explaining the challenges to them.
Okay, so at the beginning of the show, we were talking about the SLU KU game, right?
Yeah.
And we were talking about and alluded to some parents that were there that I know, and then you were even this is really games like that, or what? If you have a kid that's playing an academy, high school level, whatever, and you want to go play college soccer, you need to be watching these games so that you can understand what is the landscape, what do these bodies look like, what is the speed, what is the skill level, right? How important is it within a club for kids to look up in age to levels? Do you move them around? I mean, do you just let parents live within the bubble of their particular team? Because it's
very rare for us. It's very rare. It's not that we never do it, but it's very rare. And the explanation is that we feel we can create an environment that is challenging enough for them that they're going to struggle.
Yeah.
Once we can't hit that, for the most part, they generally move on to an MLS club. And we also have a track record of being able to do that, so I think we have a little bit of trust built up in the community to an extent. Mm-hmm. It's a difficult one because what's right for one is not necessarily right for the other.
Do you think MLS Next has spread out too much? When you look at certain markets,
no.
Do you have too many teams? You don't feel that?
We're in St. Louis right now. Do you know how far that drive is?
Yeah. 9 hours.
Yeah. So there's
8 if you've got Bob Seger on.
And I think there's value. There's value in a lot of games. Not every game has to be 2-2 or 1-1. Now, is there I think the new academy division might help with some of that in terms of growing some other clubs. Do I think Metro Detroit could handle any more homegrown, even though homegrown / academy clubs? No, I don't. if they were to put another one in our market, it wouldn't work. But again, it's hard. I mean, and we're coming down to St. Louis to play one game.
Yeah.
That's a big ask.
Yeah. No, I agree. It kind of makes me think about some of the proposed changes within NCAA. The white paper. Jeremy Allenbaugh and crew were involved in that. Where they're talking about cutting 4 regions, keep it simple. And I have a theory, and I want to throw this out to you guys. The idea of pulling back on this like mandatory or expected travel for all of these league / showcase, etc. I think the delta is closed. I think the quality of teams, even if take what is it, Oklahoma, what is it, Thunder? Isn't that the ECNL team down there? Like they've entered into a number of events, and I mean they are pumping players out into USL in particular with the relationship down there. Point being, just like in NCAA Division I, any given Sunday is real. There are good teams in most conferences, and out of that, there are good club teams in all over the country. Do you think we should maybe regionalize this a little bit tighter so that we can kind of, because we spend so much time, you guys spend so much time on the road in the car for a 1-game weekend. Maybe you get a 2-game weekend. Do you think we're missing the point and not getting these kids enough action? Joe, you want to take a stab at that?
Oh, man.
Or do you like the road? I personally like the road. I said all that, but I like the road.
Well, it's funny because I asked my U13s. We have individual meetings. I was just talking to Pete about this earlier. We meet halfway through the season, and then fall talk about life. It's supposed to be player development, but just gives us a
U13s.
Give them a chance to connect with them as people. And you ask them, you're like, "How's this going?" You're thinking they're going to be like, "Oh, I love playing Wolves on a Sunday." You know what they say? All of them. Travel's awesome. I love staying in hotels.
Yeah, right.
It's experience. But we go down we play St. Louis City today.
Yeah.
With our 2012s. And a handful of them go to the bathroom and they send them down to Union Station because of the day. It is what it is. But they go down, they're walking down whatever. What is
you don't have to do that at Sock Park.
Yeah, I know, you're right. They walk down, and there's a Ferris wheel, and they're just walking through the city of St. Louis to go to the bathroom.
Experience.
But I'm looking at people, I'm like, this is cool for them. It's different than going to Lion Oaks Park or whatever to play Wolves, and so I think some of that is.
But isn't it funny though, because these experiences, and then you have the whole high school versus club argument that goes on, but then you have everybody nationally that wants to bring up pay to play, because they all forget that lights and coaches and refs cost money.
My daughter does gymnastics. It's not free. You still got to buy a leotard. You still got to pay for.
Well, at least she's not in Irish dance. You know how much those dresses cost?
Crazy.
Oh my God, it's like $10K a pop.
But I don't know what's free, out there, So
I think when we're talking about all the logistics of this, coming from the program, and then if you would have told me a year ago, to knowing what I know now after playing all these Midwestern teams, the Sockers, Indiana, everybody, and now we're going to play Scott Gallagher. The American soccer is in just such a good place. The quality of these teams, every team has an identity. If you would have told me that, I'd be like, no chance, dude. Come on. You're telling me Scott Gallagher has an identity. I would have been like, no, that's not true. I think American soccer is in a really, really, really good place. If you took the Jags, our tactics and the toughness, and you put it in the MLS, you would have a playoff team. I guarantee you. But there's not a lot. I don't think a lot of MLS teams would be like, I'm going to concede space and we're going to play on the counter. Actually, there is one. It's Minnesota United. And hey, guess what? They may beat San Diego this round of the playoffs. And I'm not joking, Joe. I know you're giving me a laugh, but I'm serious. I'm as genuine when they come in this stuff.
Do you guys think that? Well, I don't know how I want to ask this because it's all subjective. Do you think we're going in the right direction as far as like getting the kids' mindsets right? Because it is a, pardon my French, a mind fuck for the vast majority of families that enter into this process, because it does seem so, the scale is so big. The left, right, the map is chaos.
But in what way, though? Like, are you saying financially, or are you saying
no? I think
just to go to what
I think
club?
You add all the layers to it. So you take. We were talking off mic about the limited amount of spots that are on Division I pro. Like I agree with you that U.S. soccer is in a good spot from a standpoint of, fuck, there's a lot of good players everywhere. But are we doing? Do you think clubs and colleges, and oh my God, my local people are going to be like, did you really say this? Do you think we should be looking at USL more as far as like strategic pipelines with USL 2 and League One Championship? Because they're making moves that are both entertaining, they've
Did you
got
see the
some
t-shirts
mojo.
they wore out today to the final?
Awesome. I mean, it's like, I love what they're doing.
Yeah, but they're asking for a more professional standard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before we start to worry about some of the other stuff. So if they do that, sure, but how many USL Academy teams, or how many USL Academy or teams have an academy? Invest in an academy, invest in their youth.
Well, that was part of the white paper. That was alluded to in the white paper for NCAA, where you start to see a more strategic relationship regionally between USL programs and said college. I mean, we could go down the rabbit hole here because there's a million different.
Yeah, and to Steve's point, U.S. soccer's in a good spot, and to your point, the mind, the craziness for these parents. The cool part is there's options.
Yeah.
And this is where I think Pete's great. Like, we have kids in our own club that may come up to us and go, I want to go try for Wolves.
Yeah.
Go try it. Because at the end of the day, we want people who want to be here. So if you want to go to Wolves, they might do something different. Or Vardar. You name the club you want. Midwest, I want to go try it there. Awesome. We don't hold it against them. It's like, because at the end of the day, we want people coming here who want to be here. And the cool part is you got options. You want to go EC now, play high school? Cool, go do it. Like,
yeah.
At the end, some of that falls on the parent. Like, what's best for your kid? You know? And there's no one handbook.
Yeah, my one advice to parents listening is like, along the lines of all this, how about this? Sit your kid down, ask them, what do you want? It's kind of that simple.
You might not even have to ask them. Just pay attention. Like, if they're not a kid that's on the ball all the time, or craving more soccer, or whatever it is, that's okay. Like, what's best for your kid?
I agree. Well, guys, this has been fun, man. I appreciate it. A little Saturday night, Amsterdam Tavern, talking soccer. Something new, right? Real novel.
Thanks for having me.
Somebody should start a podcast about that. All right. Steve Clark, Pete Pososki. Did I get it right? Am I close?
Really close.
Yeah.
Good enough, man.
Not German, Polish. I got it. And Joey Ahearn, DeSmet, Spartan. I appreciate your time, man.
Thanks.
It's been fun, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
great.
appreciate you having us.
Yeah.
Good luck tomorrow on everybody but the 19s. I got to throw that out there. Actually, I can't even say that. Now all my other families are going to be like, what the fuck, dude? So appreciate you guys coming on, man. We'll catch up. We'll stay in touch. Soccer Dad Pod. Till next time. Appreciate it. Like, review, follow, share. Catch you. I will have a link to the club if you're up in the Great White North. Because actually, you know what? Detroit and Cleveland are in our top 10 of listeners of the show.
No way.
So I'm sure there's kids that are like, oh my God, I want my kid to play for those guys.
Or not.
Jags, baby.
Or not. You might have just lost your people.
We're out of here.
All right. Oh, you hear the saxophone? It's time. Until next time, see ya, Seeger.
On a long and lonesome highway east of Omaha, you can listen to the engine.